Recording. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Linda Hahn, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Palm Bay, Florida. I am one of your co-hosts for today for our So What Zoomcast, and we are recording this. We are recording this. And we will post this usually on Friday. We will post the recording so that you can see it in case you missed it. In my class today, we have some cupcake Sauvignon Blanc that was left on my doorstep, probably by one of my local Zumba girls. So I can't not drink it. So my co-host can't. Where is, now I lost Deb completely. Oh, there she is. There's Deb. My co-host for today is Deb Stanley, and she's up in Matawan, New Jersey. And let's get it started right, Deb. You know what I'm looking for.
Sorry.
Let's get it started right. Our broadcast is brought to you in part by Fox Chapel Publishing, Banyan Boutiques, Cheryl Lynch Quilts, and quiltwoman.com. So we have a really fabulous guest today. Before I introduce her, I wanted to tell you, let me get Debbie off of there. We get fan mail. We really, really do. We haven't gotten any hate mail yet. We do get fan mail. And I had quite a number of people comment on my makeup last week. So Deb suggested I tell you, because I treated myself to some new makeup. I treated myself to a Charlotte Tilbury blush, some Charlotte mascara. You can get this on her website with the eyeliner pencil. It's $29. It does do what it says. And got me some Naked 3.
Ooh, pretty.
So I'm playing with the all the different colors. So in case you're interested, thank you very much for making my day. So anyway, let me find our guest. There she is, MJ Kinman.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Now, just because I saw you sneaking a little sip of something,
Yeah.
you got a glass?
Oh, I do. Mm-hmm.
What's in it?
I can prove what's in it. Let's see.
Let's see. White Claw. Oh, I've been wanting to try them.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's about 5% alcohol. And if you really want to, sometimes you can throw a little vodka in it, and it really shoots up the alcohol content a little bit. So it's a happy dose. So
all right.
No, I drank all the
I'm
wine
watching the
yesterday.
gallery view. What do you think?
Woo!
Oh, you got thumbs up.
Oh, good. Okay.
There you go.
I love that. I normally drink red wine or Maker's Mark, but I'm out. So this is my last White Claw, and I'm going to the store after this. So perfect time.
We love you. I love you. I love you.
By the way, thank you for saying that I was going to be your fabulous guest. I will pay you for that later. Appreciate it. Say it out loud.
Okay. So why don't you tell our viewers a little about you? You were in where? Kentucky?
I'm in Kentucky. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, bourbon country. And I've been here for about 30 some years. I'm originally from a little town dropped in the middle of the cornfields of Nebraska, a little town called Hastings, Nebraska. I hear now they call it Hastings, Grand Island, and Kearney, or the Tri-City region. And I'm like, Tri-City region? When I was there, it was maybe the um, little town region. So, but yeah, I like it here. It's beautiful. We've got a beautiful day. I love the weather. Louisville, Kentucky has probably one of the prettiest springs in the entire country. So you have to come sometime for the Derby. They postponed for the second time ever. I think that one of the first times they postponed the Derby was during the war, like one of the world wars. So it's pretty dramatic here. They ran it again in September, but it just wasn't the same. Just wasn't the first Saturday in May. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what would you say is your claim to fame? What do people know you for?
My big mouth.
Besides that.
Okay. I make quilts that look like faceted diamonds. You can see this is Lila behind me. She's one of my angle of repose quilts. And then I have these birthstones. But I started quilting with my mom. We learned about 33 years ago. It was 1987. And I always wanted to make quilts to hang on my walls as art. You know, I love quilts to use, but I knew that I was a poor social worker for 100 years. And so I wanted to put quilts on my like dingy apartments. And my mom, my mother's family are descendants of Amish people, from the Wayne and Holmes County area of Ohio. And she was raised Mennonite in Nebraska. And so she and I, we've always loved Amish quilts. We kind of joke that quilting is in our cultural DNA. So anyway, we learned how to quilt back in 1987. And I found my passion. I just went nuts. I loved it very much. And then a couple of years later, if you want me to, I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. But a picture of a gemstone showed up in my mailbox, and I knew very little about quilt making. You know, at that point, I had just taken maybe one or two or three different shapes, and you cut them out, right? You remember the cardboard with the sandpaper on it, and you do the little paper. It was before rotary cutters came to Kentucky. And I just made the traditional quilts, especially a lot of Amish quilts. And then this picture of this gemstone shows up in my mailbox on the front of a flyer. And I just looked at it, and it just captured my attention. And I thought, you know what? There's a pattern here somewhere. I don't quite know what it is, but it looks like it's all just straight lines. This could be a quilt. But I had no clue about gemology, and I had no clue how I was going to do it. And so after about 7 years of taking classes like with Paula Nadelstern and Ruth B. McDowell and Dixie Haywood and Jane Hall, and reading lots of books, I ran across the picture of Cynthia England's award-winning quilt called Peace and Quiet, Piece and Quiet, the quilt that changed her life. It was actually named one of the most beautiful quilts of the 20th century. I mean, can you imagine having one of your quilts named as the most beautiful? I mean, I think we should all try to make one. Let's do it. And then she had a little blurb about the fact that she used freezer paper, where you can write on one side and it adheres to the fabric on the other side, and then you can remove it without leaving a residue. And I'm like, I knew how I was going to do it, and I was off to the races. So that's what I've been doing for the last 20 some years.
And I know you have a fabric collection.
Well, yeah, I did. Northcott broke up with me. I learned that Northcott broke up with me through somebody else. It's sort of like learning that your boyfriend breaks up with you from your best friend. But that's okay. They decided to go a different direction, and I'm hoping maybe another fabric company will go, oh, maybe maybe they'll pick me up. I don't know. But yes, I do have, I had two lines. One was inspired by Lila. It was called Facets. It had a big panel that was about 36 inches of a big gemstone that kind of looks like that. And then a lot of kind of geode looking fabrics. And then I just cleaned yesterday. I just cleaned this morning. So I had all this fabric laying around. I could just grab and show you. But here's something. Oh no, that won't work. It was swirls. I had taken gemstones, actual pictures of gemstones, and put them in Photoscape, and then blurred them and swirled them, because I wanted a gradient where it was swirly. It didn't have just the straight linear gradations. because I wanted to be able to put maybe one of my freezer paper facets across it, and it would go from light to medium to dark to medium to light or something like that, and all different random kinds of things. So yeah.
You're pretty slick on the computer. Oh, here's my afternoon terrorist calling.
Meanwhile, while you answer the terrorist call, hang on, I can grab something real quick.
Okay. Every afternoon, the terrorist calls. My husband likes to talk to them because he engages with them for quite a while, asking them about their computer skills.
So here's the swirly.
Oh,
Swirly swirlies. And then they did a panel, which was fun, of gemstones and things like that. But anyway, if you can still find it, I think you can still find it around, but they're not making it anymore. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to keep making fabric, but I might just do my own, right? I mean, there's so many opportunities to be creative and create product out there now, Spoon Flower and all these other places where you can make your own stuff. And I just encourage everybody, all of you guys, to do your own stuff and get to it and make lots of it. So that's important.
Yeah, and I know you were signing something.
Signing something. Yeah. My new book. I'm actually Gemstone Quilts. I'm actually shipping and signing and shipping today. Orders. The books finally arrived, and I finally had a moment where I could do that. But yeah, this is a book where it's filled with all kinds of color pictures of gemstones and patterns and things like that. So it's fun, I finished it last year, and they did all their magic this last year, and it's finally out. Whew.
And it feels like you've given birth. Like,
it does. It just, I apologize for not doing any research. Have you written a book? Do you have books out there?
Yes, I am finishing up number 10.
I can't wait to dive in and look at your books. Yeah. It does feel like and I have no children, so I don't know what that feels like, but yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, they were really good. I like the way C&T worked. It's with C&T. But sometimes they had to plead and scream at me. And that fear, that dread when you're laying in bed at 3 a.m. going, how am I going to get this done? And who am I going to make mad today? And it's like walking a tightrope between joy and panic. And that's what I feel this has been. So yeah.
Debbie's been my co-author for these last 3 books, and I annoy the crap out of her.
Yeah.
She knows I've been busy because I get up really early, and if I'm up at 3 o'clock, she probably has about 10 emails by the time she gets up.
Yeah. And she's like, Linda, condense. Can you just do it bullet number list? Come on.
Yes. Yeah. I make her nuts, but that's okay. Yeah. She still loves me.
Well, I was a project manager or a project monster at Humana, a Fortune 100 company here before I quit my job and decided that maybe I was going to try my hand at doing this full time. It never occurred to me that I could do something like this. But things just got unbearable. Corporate world is brutal. And I was turning into a project monster rather than a project manager. When you think it's okay to make people cry in meetings, it's never okay to make people cry in meetings. So I realized I'd lost my soul. My soul had left the building, and so did I. I needed to too. So that was about 6.5 years ago. And this adventure has been going on for maybe about 3.5 years. And it's been a wild, wonderful ride. It's just been so much fun because I get to meet people like you.
Is your stuff paper pieced?
It is freezer paper. It's traditional piecing with freezer paper as your foundation. Literally, if you can put 2 pieces of fabric together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you can do this kind of piecing. So no, it's not sewing to paper. It's not flip and sew. It's not clawing paper out of the back of your fabric. It's using templates. You iron them you cut it apart. You iron it to the front side of your fabric. You cut around it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You sew those pieces together, facet by facet, into units, unit by unit, into sections, and section by section into a full quilt. And my quilts are just basically big block quilts. People are like, how do you put that together? And it's just big block quilts. It's just wonky shaped blocks. So for example, when you look at, other way, here we go. So do you see this little area right here? Do you see that little maybe square, that diamond thing? That's called a bezel facet. And that's literally a block. So when you're looking at this, there's a nice big kind of a pie-shaped wedge that go into Brilliant Cut Solitaires. This is one section, this is one section, this is one section, another one, and another one. And once you begin to see that, and you know what, I would love to share that with you now. Do you have a second? Can I do that?
Let's see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. All right. I'm going to share my screen. And if anybody has any questions, please holler, because after a while, I get tired of hearing myself talk and I just want to hear you guys. All
All right,
right.
we're starting to get some questions, but let's watch it first.
Okay, good. Okay, so are you seeing a gemstone on the front there?
Yes.
Okay, now the other thing too is you can take all the thumbnails that we have here and you can move them over to the left-hand side of the page, and you can kind of reduce it down to one if you just want to see my face or my ugly mug, and you can expand it. You can grab the frame and expand it if you want to see my face, etc. So I designed this little PowerPoint presentation for a couple of uses, but that little area there is for you to see yourself or whomever you want to see. But anyway, this is the picture that arrived in my mailbox back in 1991. And I loved everything about it. I loved the way the light kind of popped in the top and then shot out that bottom area. And I had just started quilting and I loved the whole idea of making quilts and patterns and things like that. And so I thought, you know what? This could be a quilt. This might be a quilt, but I don't know how I would do it. What techniques would I use? What would I use as a template? Because up to that point, every other quilt I'd made, there was a couple of pieces and you'd put them all together in a variety of ways or any number of ways, and you'd come up with a quilt. But in this case, every single piece would be its own separate template, right? Every single piece would only go into that quilt one way. So what would I use? And I think I told you when I learned the magic of freezer paper, I was like, oh, yay. Okay, so I was also looking at this. And I just remember my husband and I were living in a log cabin in the woods south of Louisville 24 years ago. And I just remember staring at that in my kitchen table. And I thought there's a pattern here somewhere, because our brains are pattern recognition machines. We try to see patterns in things where there aren't even patterns, right? We look at clouds and we're like, oh, it's a bunny rabbit, blah, blah, blah. There's no patterns to clouds really, but we try to create them. So I recognized that there was some sort of a pattern here. I had no clue what it was, but then I started seeing lines. I started seeing these crisscross lines. And then I started seeing the fact that it was a pie shaped and it had wedges in it. Now, I also want to just call your attention. Do you see the very center here? Do those lines go together? Do they all converge in a single place? No, they don't. My quilt patterns sometimes freak people out, especially people who like to make they like to make sure that they take great pride in the fact that their points go together perfectly. Precision is not a priority with my patterns. Perfection is an unworthy goal because it's unattainable, but you don't have to be a great sewist to make my patterns. And I was just like, phew, that's good, because I am the world's worst sewist. I guarantee you that. So anyway, and the other thing about it is that light doesn't follow quilters' rules. Gems don't care about the quilt police. That light's going to break however it wants to. So once I got the little pie wedges down, I'm like, okay, so within those pie wedges, there's something else going on and I need to find out what it is. So I was looking, let's look at this one. And I actually just showed you what it was over here. I found this little quadrilateral up at the top. And then I thought, well, if that's happening in this wedge, maybe it's happening next door to it and next door to it. What I discovered was the faceting pattern of that gem. The faceting pattern is your key to piecing your gems back together. Now, this is the point where I start looking at gemstones and then something shifts in my brain and I'm like, okay, it goes from gem to quilt. And how am I going to cut this apart and put this back together? So then I thought, okay, well, what else is going on here that might be identical across these little wedges? And I thought, well, let's connect their toes. And there I have it. I found the table facet. I have found a star facet, a bezel facet, and a girdle facet. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Oh, and this is the quilt that I made from that particular quilt. So, all right, so there's thousands of faceting patterns. Linda, do you want me to kind of go in and show you a little bit about how to carve up a gemstone using the faceting pattern?
Well, what do you think? Everybody, yes?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Everybody, cheers to that, right? Okay. So thousands and thousands of faceting patterns. Some of them are named and some of them are not. And what we're going to look at up here is this little brilliant cut up in the top. So the anatomy, let me show you anatomy of a gemstone. So when you're looking at a gemstone, here we go. Can you see me? Can you see this little glass thing that I'm holding up? Think of gemstones as windows and mirrors, right? The top or the crown of the gemstone is the windows. Light dives into the top of this and then it hits around the pavilion. This is called the pavilion of a gemstone. And what happens is the light goes into the windows and then it bounces around all of these mirrors, these facets that are the mirrors at the bottom, and then it pops back out into your eye, either as full white light, which is called brilliance, or it splits into different frequencies like red, yellow, blue, indigo, green. That's called fire. So that's the difference between brilliance and fire in a gemstone. And then when you see it move and sparkle like that, that's called scintillation. So just a few gemological terms. So windows and mirrors, crown, pavilion. This is the top of the gemstone. This is the crown, kind of like looking down. The very flat surface of that top of that gem is called the table facet. And then the little facets that are snuggling up to it with their toes, right? These little triangular things are called the star facets. They're called star facets because if you took everything else away besides the table and these little guys, it would look like a star. Then beyond that are these little quadrilaterals. And then beyond that is the upper girdle facet, because this long, narrow facet that separates the crown and the pavilion is called the girdle. We know what that's all about, don't we? Okay, so, and if you can find one quadrilateral or one little bezel or kite facet, you can find them all because they literally just hold hands as they ring around the rosy of this quilt top, or the quilt top of the gemstone. So let me show you something. Here is, I've just elongated it. This is now an oval shaped brilliant cut. And I'm going to overlay it with a little peach zoisite. Don't you love this little guy? I call it, it looks like a little potato. It looks like a little spud or a little pig. I love everything about it. I love the shape. I love the color. And especially, I love this river of light that goes through it. I think that's so cool. So do you see the facets? Let me help you. All right, let's look down here. Do you see maybe a little place where the light breaks into maybe a quadrilateral? There it is. Let me take it away and you'll be able to see sort of the after effect. All right. All right, so once you see one, let's go over to the right and see if we can find another one. Do you see maybe another quadrilateral where it breaks? There we go. And on and on and on. There you go. Now let's just connect their toes. I'm going to connect their toes. And what you have here is the anatomy of a gemstone. You have found the table facet. You've found the star facets, the kite facets or the bezel facets, and the upper girdle facets. Right? So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to ask you just to take a look at it again and see maybe. I'm hoping that as a result of this, maybe you'll start looking at gemstones in a new way, going, oh, I see the bezel facets. I see the table facet. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, there you go. So that's a little bit about the anatomy of a gemstone. And that's how I put these crazy things together without, making myself too crazy.
Wow. Cheryl sent a question. Catherine Jones created Bling.
Yes.
Did she inspire you?
I love Cat Jones. I've been making my gemstones since 1991. I've been doing it kind of undercover. I'm kind of a quilt cave dweller. I was quilting and experimenting with this through the 90s and the 2000s and the teens. And, all the while working in corporate America. And then in 2014, I left my job to do something with the diamonds. People had always said, MJ, you need to do something with the diamonds. So I engaged a coach and because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And in 2017, the spring of 2017, Desiree emailed me or texted me and said, have you seen what won QuiltCon in March of 2017 in QuiltCon? And I was just like, no. So I looked, I'm like, oh my God. If it had been 6 months or a year earlier, I probably would have crawled into bed and pulled the covers over my head and said, darn it, somebody beat me to it. But I do believe that there's abundance for everyone. There's enough success to go around. People who hoard success aren't successful, right? Because it's flow. It flows in, it flows out, and the more you let it flow out, the more that flows in, and all boats rise. So anyway, I reached out to Kat, and I said, Kat, I love your work. Congratulations. This is one of the most spectacular things I've seen. This is what I do. I do more color gems. I've been doing it since 1997. And I'm thinking of getting my gems out into the world. I'd love to teach. I want to write. I want to, just do more commissions. I think I'm going to do patterns. What are your plans? What are you going to do with this? Because I know there's enough room in the world for both of us, but I just want you to know what's happening and where I'm at. And she emailed me back, and she's like, first of all, she goes, great job. We're fans now on Facebook. We're mutual fans. And she said, first of all, I hated everything about making this quilt. Because I love everything about making it. I love everything from finding the gem to designing it, to piecing it, to painting the fabric, to quilting it. I love, love, love it. It's my passion. She said, literally, I had to take a hammer and beat the seams down, where everything came together. Because literally, it's a giant 4-patch bling is. She took the same, lots of, the same quadrant and just spun it around a central axis. So what that meant is at those points where all those quadrants come together, all of those seams were colliding. And you know what happens when seams collide? And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting technique. Quilt police hotline, right? A quilt abuse hotline is what I wanted to call. And she said, so she goes, and I don't have any plans to teach. I don't have any plans to write. This is not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is a bias curved strip piecing. She does beautiful work. She wins awards. And she said, and by the way, I live in Tasmania, Australia. So I will never come to the United States. I am so grateful to Kat because I feel as though she opened the door for the world to say, yeah, we're interested in gemstones. And I got to walk through it. So I always give Kat the kudos for encouraging me to bring my gemstones. My coach basically, she said to me, MJ, this is her ribbon, but your passion. And it's true. I've been doing this for 20 years. She did it once. And it was, who wins? She did it as an experiment. Who wins best of show an experiment? I'm like, go girl. She's awesome. So can I tell you another fun story? I was teaching up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a year ago, March. It was freezing cold. It was wonderful. And I was teaching a class, and one of the people came up to me, and she kind of tapped my shoulder, and she said, I have bling in my car. And I was like, oh, you've got a diamond in your car? She goes, no, I have bling in my car. This is the woman who bought bling from Kat Jones. I have goosebumps. I'm like, oh. So anyway, she brought it in, and we spread it. The quilt is 100 inches by 100 inches, and we laid it. And so bling came and hung out with us while I taught my class. So it was really fun.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a story about me and Kat. I did not do that quilt, but we are definitely buds on Facebook. So.
Okay. Nancy would like to know, can you give some detail and tips into the coloring to make a gem quilt?
Yes. Oh, see, you must be reading my mind. I'm going to share my screen again. You're a really good plant. I like that. All right. Okay. This actually was the next thing I was going to talk about, because my book is organized by cut, color, and clarity. Cut, color, and clarity are 3 of the 4 C's of the gem grading: cut, color, clarity, and carat, through the Gemological Institute of America, the GIA. Here's the thing about color is that, while I don't know who said it, but color gets all the credit, but value contrast does all the work. Value contrast does all the work. When you put the lightest lights and the darkest darks next to each other, that's when you're going to get bling. So, and that's going to be the focal point of your quilt, regardless of what the inspiration is. Mine happen to be gemstones. Yours might be landscapes or florals or portraits or whatever. But if you go to any art museum and you look at the old masters or even the new ones, and you'll see it white and black together, or a dark and a light together, that is the focal point of the quilt, because that's where your eye goes. Brilliance is the white light, but for it to be truly brilliant, it needs those dark bits to add contrast to it. So in terms of, I just want to give you that kind of little tidbit. If you really want to bling up your compositions and your own quilts, lightest lights and darkest darks. But you also need the mellow bits. You also need low contrast bits. That helps lead your eye across a design. Do you remember that little pig that I showed you right here? This little guy. Do you see this? Lightest lights and darkest darks. This is the focal point of your quilt, and this little area as well. And so you've got this wonderful light here, and your eye literally moves that way. If you have a perfectly symmetrical placement of your color and your lights and darks, like in a gemstone, it's boring. It just lays there like a lump of coal. The important thing for me is to place my colors and the value contrast asymmetrically. That's what makes a quilt. That's what makes for interesting design, is asymmetry and using light and value contrast to move your eye around the quilt. So let me also just tell you real quickly about color. Gems come in a variety of colors. These are all sapphires. Did you know that there were yellow sapphires and green sapphires and light pale and purple sapphires? So basically, sapphire is corundum, a mineral called corundum, and it's the presence of a particular trace element that shifts the color to make a sapphire a different color. And so this is one of my favorites. It's a Podparacha sapphire. Isn't that fabulous? This is a part of the collection of my friends, Lori and Simon Watt. They are international gem dealers in Maysville, Kentucky. They used to live in California, and then they moved to Maysville, Kentucky. Go figure. But they gave me permission to use their gemstones in my quilt, in my book. So this is an example of one of their gorgeous their international colored gemstones. I mean, look at that. Anybody know what this is? This one? Who knows what that is?
Topaz?
Close. It's a sunstone. It's a sunstone. I actually got to touch that thing. It's like an inch by 3/4 of an inch. I was visiting Lori last year when I had a show up there, and she goes, "You want to go look at gemstones?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So we went up to her office. It was at the top of the bank, and their security system is better than the bank's. And so she started pulling out all of these topaz and tourmalines and emeralds, and I just kind of lost it. And so she handed me this sunstone, this sculptural cuts. And I said, "Well, Lori, how much is this?" And she goes, "It's about $40,000. I said, "I think I'll pass." But anyway, this is a Podparacha. I love the corals and the fuchsias and the roses. I just think that's wonderful. And again, garnets, they come in a variety of different colors. This one is, the top one is, we normally know garnets as kind of that deep, beautiful, mysterious red color. This is either a pyrope or an almandine. I'm not quite sure which. I couldn't tell. But they also, garnets are green. This is a savarite. Spessartite is this beautiful one, hessonite, and andradite is this kind of olivey color. And it all has to do with trace elements that are in that particular mineral structure that toss those light waves, that make those light waves go this way or that way, and, you know, flash red or flash green or flash yellow. This is one of my favorites. This is called a Mozambique purple garnet. I didn't know garnets came in purple. But this is a part of Lori and Simon's collection too. And I asked Lori if I could use this as the project in my book. And she's like, "Well, sure." So she told me about this. This actually came from a deposit that was recently found in Mozambique. And it was it's been completely mined. It's all gone. It's all out in the world now. Until they find the next deposit. And that's the cool thing about colored gemstones, you guys, as opposed to like being a diamond dealer or an international diamond dealer, is once you see a D flawless, everything else is like, no big deal. D means it's perfectly colorless, it's perfectly white. And a flawless means it's clear, it's perfectly clear. It has no inclusions or blemishes. So again, once you see a D flawless, it's the lack of color for diamonds. With colored gemstones, man, you can get a purple and a blue that goes from the lightest light to the darkest dark and everything in between. And you never know what they're going to find, a deposit next tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. They've recently found a new deposit of what they thought just tanzanite, which is a blue zoisite. Right now, well, before they had this new deposit, they only thought that tanzanite came from an 8 square mile area at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And I think they found a new one. So now they have to, do a definition over that, completely over. So again, they found this deposit of these spectacularly rich, glorious, glowing purple garnets. And it was a super, super thin deposit. It wasn't kind of like a ball or a large area. It was really thin. And so the gem cutters had to really make sure that they created gemstones that would still make the light disperse, but it had to be very thin. And I think they did a good job with this one. So I love this one. This is the pattern in the book. It's 5 colors plus black and white. And what I encourage people to do in my book and in my classes is to make these gemstones your own. So here is the result of the pattern that's in the book, with the black and the white and the 5 colors in a range. So do you see how this ranges from light to medium to dark? Color gets all the credit, value does the work. You can make this any color you want if you just preserve and honor the value of the particular of the plan. Your gemstone could be not only just a Mozambique purple garnet, but it could be a podparacha sapphire, right? Our little podparacha. This was the colors of the podparacha. You could make your little project of beautiful corals and apricots, or you could do a savarite with the greens, or you could do a sapphire, a typically blue sapphire, or you could do. Does anybody know what this is? Shout it out. Who knows what this is? It's the actual name of a gemstone. Is anybody out there?
They're all muted.
Okay, good. Sometimes I get kicked off, or and I'm like, oh my, I lost them 20 minutes ago, and I'm still going.
Is it topaz?
No, it's not. Good guess though. What are purple gemstones called generally?
Amethyst.
Amethyst.
And what are these colored? What's another term for a yellow orangey gemstone?
Amber?
Citrine.
Oh,
So
okay.
what this is called, this little gemstone here is called an ametrine, right? Amethyst and citrine, an ametrine. And literally ametrine is the same structure. It's the same crystal structure. It's just that citrine has had more pressure put on it. It's been heated up. And literally you find amethyst in bands in rock formations, and you'll find amethyst bands and citrine bands. And then the gem cutter will just cut them together and have 2 in the both colors in the same rock. So the citrines had more stress on it. So sometimes I feel like, is this going to be an ametrine day or is it going to be a citrine day? Mm-hmm. So anyway, you can split it and you can do bicolor gemstones. Or you could flip it. You could flip the value. So do you see how this facet right here is white and this facet right here is black? What if you just turn that value chart on its head and made that black and that white, right? You could do whatever you want. Another podparacha is just reverse. It's kind of like a negative of it. Or you could actually drop in different colors. This is what I like to think of. Do you guys know what this is? This is a mystic topaz. Mystic topaz is white quartz that has been coated with a proprietary substance. There's one company that makes the mystic topaz, and of course it's the secret recipe. Nobody's telling them what that is, but really pretty stuff. Okay, and then so emeralds. Okay, so we're going to talk. I just want to talk again about fabric. So we talked about color, and the last thing, since you guys are reading my mind already, let's just go into cut and clarity. So the clarity of a gemstone, how I bring clarity to is through the fabric, is through what fabric selection I use. So for example, you could do an emeralds. Emeralds are by definition, they have a lot of inclusions in them. So you see how kind of cloudy this emerald is. These are natural emeralds that live in the wild. Rarely do you see a gemstone like this that is an emerald. Normally it would be a savarite, or it's a synthetic emerald. So you would use different fabric, right? If you were to create something like this, or if you want to do something perfectly clear like this. So for example, if you wanted to do an emerald, I would suggest maybe these are, by the way, fabric swatches from equilter.com. Beautiful fabric there. This is called Marble Stone in Kelly Green, if you're interested. And this is a Northcott fabric. This is a Stonehenge fabric, a gradation, which just knocks me out. So do you see how this could really be used quite effectively in creating your emerald? Or this one could be used quite effectively to create an emerald with a lot of mossiness. In fact, emeralds often were called a long time ago la jardine. La jardine, that means the garden for French, because it's mossy, a mossy garden. So if you wanted to do instead something that was like a sabarite, which is a very clear, doesn't have a lot of inclusions, you could use, oh, looks like someone's been writing on my thing there. Oh, that's okay. You could use solids, which is how I first started making my gemstones, or you could use a gradation like this, or you could use one of my swirls. This is one of the swirls of the Northcott. These are about 14-inch swirls, and you can see how I wanted to put my facets through to get that sort of that glow in it. Yeah, okay, and so there's the book. Yeah, so yeah, does that help kind of give you a little heads up into how I pick color and then how I use fabric to create different luminosity? So for example, my birthstones over here, they're all with solids. So they have very few inclusions, but I do have colorways and fabric translations for Bali hand dyes. I use a lot of Bali hand dyes when I moved away from solids, maybe 20 years ago when I was kind of trying to figure out. Now what I do is I paint my own fabric. I paint my fabric with 100% cotton sateen and Jacquard Products Dynaflow paint. And this process, I chart everything up. You know, I make big charts and, you know, code them and little hash marks and everything. So it's very premeditated and very planned. But when I paint my fabric, you guys, I just go all Helen Frankenthaler. I'm just like, I mean, I'm really a mess. I can tarp my whole back room up here and I can still get paint over there. So it's fun. And I really enjoy that process of doing my quilts.
Denise would like to know, do you do your own quilting, and how do you decide what type of quilting would best showcase your quilt?
That was a huge challenge. So yeah, that was a huge challenge at first. I started hand quilting my quilts at first. And because there's so many different seams you have to go through, right? That my hands just started to hurt. And now I've got a little carpal tunnel and I just knew I couldn't do this. And, you know, with a regular running quilting stitch, the whole goal is to get them as tight and even as possible. There's no way you can do that on this. So I realized that I was going to need to learn how to machine quilt somehow. And that was a process. It was a process of coming up with this, by the way, do you see the quilting in this quilt? You might see texture, but you don't see a pattern, right? That was the key for me. I want people to look at my quilts and go, oh, that's a diamond. Again, our brains are pattern recognition machines. And if I were to put straight lines in this, or like feathers or clamshells, or any other kind of design that was meant to be seen, when you're looking at my gemstones, your brain would stop for just a second and say, oh, that's a clamshell. Oh, that's a feather. Oh, that's a vine. But instead, I want them to not be able to determine any kind of a pattern. And so their brain goes right through it to the flow of light and color across the gemstone. That's what I want people to take a look at. So I had to experiment with that. And I ended up coming up with this it's kind of a little flame shape or a vine shape, and it's random, non-directional, non-representational. It's a perfect shape to get into these little teeny tiny points of each one of these facets here. And I do change my color of my thread whenever I'm moving across the facets, because again, I want my whites just to pop, right? If I had a darker color on that, it would dim it, it would dull it. And again, I want my darks to just really pop too. So if I were to put a light color on that, a quilting color, it would dim it, it would dull it. And I want that sharp, contrast. So again, it was a real process, and this whole thing has just been a kind of an adventure and of exploration. And I just want to give you guys that encouragement as well. There's a wonderful book out there called Art and Fear called The Perils and Pleasures of Making Art. And it's by David Bales, Bayles, and Ted Orland. They Orland. They're photographers. And they basically talk about, all of just how scary it is to make art and put it out in the world. It's just freaking scary. And they're like, yeah, just get over it. The gist of their book is your art is waiting to be made. Only you can make it. So get to it and make lots of it. Make bad art, make lots of it, because you're going to learn from each mistake, each iteration. Man, I'm telling you what, I made a lot of mistakes. My first big quilt that I did in 2014 was 9 feet wide and 6 feet tall. It was 2 giant gemstones, probably had 1,200 pieces in it of hand painted fabric. And I totally screwed it up. I screwed up the background and I cut it up for scrap. You think I'd learn to experiment a little smaller, right? Smaller scale, MJ, but go big or go home. So yeah, just do it, you guys. Your art is waiting to be made. That's what you were here to do. You were here to create. So go for it.
Now, I happen to know that you are doing some presentations at Road to California coming up in January.
Yes.
Road at Home.
Yes.
So, and registration's open. So you can go register for MJ's classes.
What am I teaching there? Okay, let me think. I'm doing, I think I'm doing a bite-sized gem class, which is learning all the coding technique. I provide the mock-up, and then we turn it into an 18-inch block and learn the coding. Then I'm teaching a treasure hunting class. The treasure hunting class is, it's all about design and composition. And so basically we look at pictures, just like we've been doing. We look at pictures of giant gemstones. So I send you PDFs of, and that you can get printed out, maybe 11 by 14 inches of beautiful gemstones. And what we do is we create little frames, and we take that frame and we move it around the inside of the gemstone until you find a landscape that makes you go, oh, I want to do that, right? And so we take that little landscape that you've discovered, like a little bite-sized gem, or a little bite out of the gem, and then we turn that into whatever size you want. But I usually say, let's do 18 inches by 18 inches, or it could be 20, 36, whatever. And then I teach you how to do that, to blow it up. I teach all about the coding that I use, the unique identifier, the color codes, the hash marks, and then the piecing techniques that I use to kind of put all this stuff back together. And by the way, you guys, people look at these things sometimes and like, I could never. Oh yeah, you can. Because literally, if you can put 2 pieces of fabric together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you can do this. It's all straight lines. And sometimes there's little set-in seams, like with my emerald over here. The challenge piece of this emerald is there's a little set-in seam. No big deal. No big deal at all. But it's all straight lines. And to a person in my classes, when people are starting to put these things together, they're like, this isn't hard. This is easy. And I'm like, I know. Don't tell anybody. They'll think you're a rock star. So, and then I'm doing, so that's treasure hunting. So join me for treasure hunting. And literally everything in that class is in this book. This book will teach you everything that's in that class and vice versa.
And is your book on your website?
It is. You can go to mjkinman.com and go to shop, and I'm shipping out today. There's my books right there. And I sign them. There's also a little form in there if you want me to sign it, like if you want to sign it for a favorite quilter in your life or a friend, and you put her name or
Linda
his
J. Hahn. If anybody wants to send me a gift, just saying.
I love that. Good.
Well,
The other class I'm teaching, but real quick, the last class I'm teaching is all about video editing. I'm kind of a computer geek. I did IT project management for many years. And so I do that, how to create still images in Canva, how to use PowerPoint to create animations of those if you want to promote your classes, promote your art, promote your products, and then how to take all of those assets and put them into Shotcut and make little kind of fun, cool 3-minute videos to promote yourself. So,
and I'm taking that class now.
yeah, yes.
I got through the first video and then I got distracted.
Okay. Take your time. But I just been chatting away. It's like 10 till 4 already, man.
Yeah, so that means we're getting close.
Okay.
And you know what that means. MJ, stay right there.
Okay.
Because we're gonna start working towards the door prizes.
All
We'll
right.
give you guys who are not on video. Hey, we want to see you. So if you don't have your camera turned on, now is the time to figure out how to turn on your camera. We will give you a couple minutes because I will just tell you what we have working. Deb,
Oh.
Deb, you ready for your so long?
Yes,
So long. Let me find
this month, instead of a so-long, we're going to do a demo of many different ways to make a cathedral window, which is a special request from Linda because she always wanted to make a cathedral window quilt. So we're going to have a little demo of some machine piecing techniques, some hand piecing techniques,
You know it.
anywhere from super simple to pretty simple. So that will be on the 12th, Thursday, the 12th at 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay. I will show you. Thank you, Deb. Coming up in, I'm doing my test class, so it'll be ready soon for Teach It. Doing it at Road to California. If you're thinking about teaching somewhere, be it at your guild, your shop, whatever, this is the presentation for you. I'm going to give you secrets and all kinds of information that took me years to accumulate. And I have lots of information, lots. And you know all my stuff is good. I mean, I've already told you about the pineapples. I've already talked to you about the bikini trimmer. So I have lots of good information. You'll get even better stuff there. The new workshop is up on my website. That is on 28th of November. Celtic interlaces. I can only take 6. I got 5 spots left. I got somebody registered already. The price includes 4 knots, the fusible bias tape, and a pressing sheet. So that's on Frog Hollow Design. The knots are made independent, and you can put them onto garments, lampshades, whatever, and you can make the knots. I'm almost ready. This is going to be the new New York Beauty Workshop. It's called South Shore Spinners. Say that after you drank a bottle of wine. South Shore Spinners. So that will be coming up probably not till January, because I do want to have it quilted. So does anybody have any questions before we, my staff shows the New York Beauty book specials, New York Beauty Simplified, New York Beauty Diversified. They're in the monthly specials. If you go on Amazon and you try to buy it, you're going to be spending $60, $70. We have a special for both of them. I need to clean out the warehouse, get ready for the new stuff coming in. So November 20th, we got coming. Next week, we have Michelle May. She is from South Carolina. She's such a cutie. She does this really interesting reverse wool applique. It's amazing. And on the 18th, we have Heather Kojan. I didn't see her when I went through there before. On the 25th, because it's Thanksgiving, we're going to give thanks to all our presenters who joined us out of the goodness of their heart to tell you about themselves. And we're going to invite everybody to come back. We'll see, who comes back, and we'll allot everybody some time. Because I know Joyce Hughes has her new book. I just got my copy. Thank you. I love you. And I know Cheryl Lynch has some new fabric coming out. So they're going to show you what they've done since they were on. And we're going to thank them. If you would like to say something to Deb, myself, or any of our presenters, just let me know and we'll give you a little time slot. We already have 2 people that are just gonna, we just want to say thank you and let our people know that you appreciate them getting you out of the COVID state of mind for an hour. This is the meeting number and password. If you would like to join us for Zumba, we have quilters all over the country. Some of them are on here. If they're crying that their shoulders hurt or something, don't listen to them. You're welcome. We do Zumba on Mondays and Zumba toning with hand weights, different kind of music with hand weights. We do that on Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern, and it is my community service. Take donations, but it's my community service. So you don't have to pay anything. Join us. Listen to the music. I got really good music. And then participate when you feel comfortable. It's totally fine. Okay. So, Joyce, you're banging. Steve, you be quilt woman.
Okay.
Okay. So we are ready for door prizes. When we do our door prizes, we do want to see you in the camera. We need to see you because we're going to spotlight you and see what you have in your glass. I know you're waiting for it. Like Jill's, some people, oh, there's a couple people jumped right off. Oh my God. And then Jill's drinking something. She's out in California. Okay. Deb, you want to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'm going to pick somebody. Let's see. Who am I going to go with? Okay.
Turn around.
Turn around. Jody Bitzel.
Jody, let's spotlight you. Hold on. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
It's my first time here.
Hello, welcome.
Cheryl Lynch told me about it today.
She did.
Yeah.
Good
Okay,
people.
so
I
this-
like her.
This is awkward. Someone's at my door. What's-
Is it a young guy? It's a young guy. Bring him in.
So for anybody, if you win a door prize, I'm going to put your email in the chat so that we can.
That's so funny. I'm sorry.
Who was it?
It's my neighbor.
Oh, jeez.
His dogs come to visit.
Oh, I had that. So, did she tell you that you should have something in your glass that's interesting
Well,
to us?
she did, and I did, and I finished it. So I had some Baileys and coffee.
Oh, okay. Let me put it on gallery.
I have one little sip left.
Baileys and coffee.
Bailey's is good. Like Bailey's.
You get a ding dong, and you need to put your email.
Email address.
Hey, Linda,
What?
can I ask something? Kathleen McCarthy says she has to go, but I just wanted to prove to her that I have your book. Yeah, your book is going
Oh,
out
you're so
today.
excited.
Yeah. I saw your chat and I was like, yeah. All right, good. Okay.
Oh, but
Okay, I'm done.
do I have 2 seconds? I just want to show you what's going on.
Kathleen, you come back again.
I will now that I know it's here, but I don't know if you can see that on my wall, but I have Elizabeth on the wall. Getting ready.
Woo!
My Elizabeth is all rocking and I'm getting ready to roll with it.
Good deal.
There we
Well,
go.
Catherine is coming out in about 3 weeks. So we have a round brilliant one. So,
Cool.
and then, so yeah. All right. So thank you. Great. Enjoy. Have fun.
I appreciate
I'm gonna,
that.
I'm gonna mute Jody. And all right, Joyce Hughes, you are Banyan. We have Banyan petite bundles.
Sienna, Powell, Sienna Powell. You got to unmute yourself.
Shauna.
Sorry,
that
I
would
always
be
forget
Shauna.
that part. It's
Shauna.
Shauna.
I can't find you. Where are you?
I'm in the top row.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I have nothing in my cup because I drank it, but it was just coffee. Because I'm still working. I know. I always get a buzzer.
I'm not even asking them.
That's okay. You still win a prize.
Yeah, put your email in the chat.
I did. Thank
One
you.
more, Joyce.
Beth Weidler.
Beth Wilder. Oh, Beth. Hi, Beth.
Well, hello. That's awesome. Thank you.
What do you got?
Oh,
That don't
Welch's
sound
grape
good.
juice. It's Welch's grape juice. It is good. It's delicious. It's almost gone.
Is there anything in there?
Just grape juice and ice.
You could lie to me.
No, it's just grape juice.
Vodka.
Like red wine.
I'm trying to help you here.
Okay, it's red wine on
Okay.
ice.
What do you
never
think?
do
Grape juice.
that. Grape juice.
They're giving
juice.
you a
I see Siobhan.
Siobhan. No, don't even look at Siobhan anymore. Siobhan gives everybody a thumbs up. She don't care what you're drinking.
She gave me
Water. It
two
could
thumbs
be
up.
anything. Mountain Dew. My brother-in-law used to call that like Panther something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. She gives everybody a thumbs up. Yeah.
Well, thank you for choosing me, Joyce.
You're
There we
welcome.
go.
Enjoy.
So
Do you want my-
everybody else but Siobhan.
Do you want me to put my email in for Deb or for
Yes,
whoever?
please.
Yes, that would be
They're
good.
giving you a thumbs up.
Okay.
All right. All right, you're getting a ding dong. You're getting a ding dong. Like,
Thank you.
Evie, quilt woman.
Jill Patterson.
Jill Patterson. Oh, she who whines about
I
my
went to
shoulders hurt.
Linda, I'm actually in Sedona right now, and I went on a wine tour on Monday night and came home with a bottle of Merlot, which I will cook with because I don't drink wine.
Yeah, so what else you drinking?
I'm hiking, so it's water, and it's actually horrible water because it's right from the tap, and they have soft water in Sedona. So you can buzz that because I don't even like it.
All right, I'll give you a different question. How's your arms today?
You know, because I'm in Sedona, you know what I'm using for weights?
Wine
My
bottles.
filled water bottle. No, my filled water bottle. So my arms are a little bit sore.
Yeah. Get away from me. My ding dongs get away from me. Make sure your email is in the chat. Who else we got to do?
You.
Me. Put everybody on gallery. Nobody has signs anymore. People used to put signs, pick me. Ah, MJ. Okay, that's enough. Oh, Deb. Joyce,
Yes.
it's you. Do you want one of our patterns?
Give it to someone else.
Rhodey, there's a man
I'm
in there.
here.
I'm
You got a
here.
man there. Let's see him.
Hello?
Let's see your man.
Wait a minute. Hello?
Did he run away?
I can see you. Oh, but you can't see me.
No, we don't want to see you. We want to see your man.
He's hiding.
Tell him there's a whole bunch of women want to check him out.
Okay.
Okay, I guess that's enough.
Hello.
Hello. But I guess your man's there, so you're not drinking anything.
Exactly.
Put your email in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
MJ, you got it now?
Can we just recover your now?
I think I understand what's going on. What do you need from me?
Yes, right.
Okay, are you doing some door prizes?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do I get to do? I turn around and I point to
You're gonna put
somebody.
everybody on gallery view,
Okay, we're there. We're there.
and then you're gonna turn around and close your eyes and swirl around.
Swirl around, swirl around. There's something called iPhone. So it's an unnamed.
No, we gotta see him. We gotta see him.
Oh, gotta see him. Okay, all right. How about Denise?
Denise.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
Denise,
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
So would you
You gotta
like?
show us what she's drinking first.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. We are having a heat wave here in Michigan. We're up to 70. So it's iced tea. I know.
And look at Siobhan. Siobhan, I'm gonna turn up your camera.
Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you.
Denise, put your email in the chat so we can get it to MJ.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So
Thank
let me
you
ask
so
you this,
much.
Denise, do you want a citrine packet with the fabric and the citrine block, or do you want a book?
Ooh. What? Oh.
Or is the
I'm
answer
gonna-
yes?
I know. I'm gonna. Decisions. Can I make the pattern without the book?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the patterns. I write the patterns like I'm sitting with you in your quilt studio going, and now you do this, and here's what you want to think about. And
Oh, then I will take that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Siobhan has a fan club in the chat, by the way. Oh my God. Turn off her camera.
Now, how do I get this to you, Denise?
We're gonna send you her email, and she
All right,
will
I'm
send
kind
you
of
her,
slow learner.
her address.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. Did we forget? We got Quilt Woman, we got Banyan, we got MJ, and we got us. Did I get everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Oh my God, look at Siobhan. He's getting all these people. Yeah. We may have to, okay. I'm just gonna do this just because. Siobhan, now you're spotlighted. You're so nice to everybody, giving them a thumbs up.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you, MJ. That was really interesting today. Thank you for telling us all about your passion.
My pleasure.
Siobhan.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're done. You're done. Oh, yeah. Somebody just reminded me. I'll go back on. I took a contract for a 2022 quilt cruise going to the Western Caribbean. 2022. I have the flyers. Just let me know. I posted it in the So What Zoomcast. So I have the flyers. It's with Quilting Adventures. So you know we will have some fun, and we'll have even more fun if I leave my husband. Everybody else can battle to see who's coming with me. But if I leave my husband home, we'll have much more fun. Not nice. Okay, so MJ, you rocked it. You rocked it.
Thank you. I had a blast. I hope you did too.
We did. Learned so much. And
You see that little thing right there?
yeah.
That is, I just planned, you're the first to see this. I just finished this morning. It's a little mini gems. I'm going to do little mini gems, a little club next year of little mini gems, 12 in a year. And I don't know what to call the club. So you need to help me figure out how to call the club. So if you go to my Facebook page or my Instagram, can't remember, help me name it. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I've got a block of the month that I'm going to be doing. Can I just show you real quick? I know you're ready. You're ready to leave.
Yeah. What is your Instagram handle?
Yeah, MJ Kinman Textile Artist. And so they're all going to be little 6-inch gems that are inspired. This is a platinum spinel, and you can do anything you want to with it. But I'm also going to do a block of the month that starts in April. It's 9 blocks. I think they're going to be 18 inches. I'm not quite sure. They're called Diamonds and Drama Queens. For example, this is Huguette Clark. She was the daughter of a copper magnate. She had 5 fabulous houses all around the world. She spent the last 20 years of her life in a hospital room. She was perfectly fine under an assumed name because she just liked the company. And so here's some of her gems. So these are diamonds, these are gemstones that are inspired by some of the most notorious, eccentric, and intriguing people. And this is, you probably know this woman, Evelyn Walsh McLean. She was a crazy woman. This is the McLean diamond, and you know this. This is the Hope diamond. And so she basically kept the Hope diamond in the back of a overstuffed chair. That was her vault. And whenever she needed to borrow money to get a mortgage payment on one of her mansions, she would rip out the back of the chair, pull out the Hope diamond, and walk it down to the pawn shop stuffed in her bra. So these are the kind of stories that I'm really excited about sharing with you. But anyway, so that's just a couple other things that are happening next year. So it's all about gems and joy. So thank you for inviting me. It's been fun. Nice meeting you all. I hope you have a great rest of the day.
And I put all your information in the chat already, and then we're going to put it back up. And I will send you a link when I upload it to YouTube.
Great. Okay. Super.
Thank you so much. So, all right, everybody, we love you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Be well.
Good, Siobhan. Oh, Denise, where'd you get that heart? Oh, here we go. I got me a heart too.
That's right. Okay, I'm trying to leave.
Can you turn off the recording?